Telegraph. Watch. Kamala Harris feigns accent in speech to blue-collar workers. Critics say Vice President speaks with a different dialect as she vows to support union workers in battleground state of Michigan. What I love about the telegraph.co.uk, for those that don't know, is it's a rather neutral headline. Feigns accent is in quotes, and they say critics say. I can respect that. Here you go. We got sound.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
What is that?
Thank unions for sick leave. Thank unions for paid family leave. Thank unions for your vacation time.
What is that? Wow. When you look at how the media reports it here, you could Google just sends you this. Obviously, Fox News says Kamala Harris goes viral with a new accent at Detroit rally. But Newsweek says MAGA accuses Harris of changing her accent. Accuses? She's doing it.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's doing it.
And then New Republic, MAGA melts down over Kamala Harris's accent for idiotic reasons. Dude, come on. What was that? What is this?
Detroit and Pittsburgh, for those who don't know, 5 hours apart.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about days apart. We're talking about literally the same day. Look, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. And they're saying that's a Southern accent. I mean, it's an awful Southern accent. No one else, if I went to Massachusetts to try to appeal to people and started talking like a Kennedy, everybody would ridicule me. And then I went to, back home to Nashville and said the exact same speech in a totally different accent. Southerners are used to this. People think that we are stupid if we live in the South. And you guys are all nodding. You're like, yeah, we're borderline South right now. And they think that they will have more appeal to us if they pretend to be like us, even when we know they aren't. Hillary Clinton did this with the ridiculous aspects. Kamala's the fakest person, I think, to ever run for president.
But she's in Michigan with this clip. I mean,
that's why I don't really understand it.
Instead of trying to appear like whatever, I think she's faking the Southern accent to seem welcoming, to seem more friendly. The way that people, stereotype Southern ladies by saying "bless your heart," but actually that's not.
I think she just wants to seem more black.
Well, let's apply what you said there, Hannah Claire. That Kamala Harris tries to sound a way to
alter people's perception of her
so that they feel like she's like them.
Mm-hmm. I think it's trying to be disarming or charming.
Yeah, here's a story from Yale Insights. White liberals present themselves as less competent in interactions with African Americans. So if the argument is that people like Kamala are going to meet a bunch of Southerners and then try and put on a Southern drawl, or they're going to meet people in the city and they're going to try and speak like a street dialect of sorts, white liberals, according to Yale, act like they're stupid. What does that mean about how they perceive black people?
They do think black people are stupid, and we've seen this for years. There was a study done that showed that white elitist liberals speak down to their black counterparts, whether they have the same level of degrees and obviously, similar intelligence and all of that. White liberals speak down to black people, and that's very clear. That's been.
Did you guys see the video?
Batya Ungar-Sargon talks about that, and that was really that study was really the beginning of her, moving away from the organized left.
Did you guys see the video that went viral recently of liberal white people being asked about requiring ID to vote?
Well, that's actually the Ami Horowitz one. That's a classic video, and it's actually several years old, but it is always worth
keeps cycling back through, and all the white people basically think black people are too dumb and not
right. Kamala Harris even thinks that. She said that there shouldn't be voter ID because you need to get forms photocopied, and you might live in a place where you don't have access to photocopy machines. Which is so clearly she's never been to any real rural places, which, me personally, neither had I, and then I moved to one, and it's it's not difficult to get something photocopied or anything. It's not difficult to anything.
I think what it represents is that, again, Kamala's super inauthentic, but also she's incredibly lacking in confidence.
That's a true
thing. And so
thing.
Everything that she does is desperately trying to get people to like her. And that is why I think these accents happen. I think she's trying to make people like her, and it comes across so fake that I think it actually blows up in her face and makes people less likely to like her.
I do too. I mean, if you go back and play that clip where they're contrasting Pittsburgh, where she's not using an accent, and then Michigan, again, it's not the South. It's not like she's going to Texas and trying to blend in there. I think she's using the Southern accent to seem like she has more of a personality and to seem like she has some kind of charm, which she doesn't. We know that she's not successful. She's more animated when she's in Detroit. When you go to the Pittsburgh one, she looks much more scared.
You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
It's all hands. She's leaning. And some of this is a stereotype of like a Southern gospel black woman.
For sick leave. Thank unions.
Her gestures are much smaller. She looks more nervous.
Thank unions for your vacation.
She's not moving and looking around as much. Like her body language is different when she doesn't have this fake accent. I think she really is trying to ascertain her personality.
Here's the other funny thing, guys. The first clip went viral. And they might have been like, hey, people made fun of how you talked. Maybe dial it back. And then she dialed it back, and it actually made things worse. Because then you put them side by side. And this is why so many of your advisors are worthless.
Yeah.
Because this is, if you allow people to get in your head, eventually, and I'm sure this is what's happened to Kamala, you don't even know what's real. You can't act normal anymore.
Could you imagine if she kept that dialect? If the advisors went to her and said, Kamala, look, you used the dialect. You can't drop it now. You will get accused of being inauthentic. From this point forward, that's how you talk. She's on the debate stage with Trump next week. And she's talking like this to Donald Trump. I'm for. And he's going to be like, Kamala, why are you talking that way? That's weird. What are you doing?
What do you, if he calls her weird, that would be a very viral moment. But the thing, too, it's like what you were saying about, people telling her to dial it back or whatever. She has so many handlers. There are so many people telling her what to do and how to behave and what to think and what to say. I mean, the only thing she has control over are those sneakers. She's never been a genuine person in front of the American people. Maybe she was genuine in 2020 when she touted all those left-wing positions that she's now backtracking on, even though she actually still believes in them. But I don't know. I don't know what they think. I don't know what her handlers think people would be voting for other than her identity and the, Democrat Party machine, voting for the people who will be staffed. These unelected bureaucrat types.
You've been writing online for a while, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever read the comments to what people say about your article?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't really have that kind of time.
Because they're not real.
I think it's because they're not real. I also think if you allow people you don't know to critique your work and you take it seriously, sometimes it gets in your head. And it will impact the way that you perform.
Yeah, I mean, this is why in theater, people always say, don't read the reviews after opening night. And when I used to do theater and we'd get reviewed, which didn't always happen, but sometimes happened, I would just be like, and this was back, when there were newspapers, I'd be like, no newspapers backstage. Like, we're not looking at we're just going to do the show. You just got to do your show.
My top advice for people who do live radio, because I came out of sports talk radio, don't ever pay attention now to what people say while you're live on the air. Same thing now. I mean, I'm sure there's comments rolling in YouTube like all the time. But if you worry, this is a great line from.
Oh, you don't want to know what this is.
I'm sure they're lighting me up right now.
They're posting eggplant emojis and then your name.
That seems positive.
Is that good or bad? Sure. Is that good or bad? Charles Barkley had a great line, and he said, and I give credit to him, if you worry about the opinions of people who don't like you, then eventually the people who do like you won't like you either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now everybody hates Kamala.
In a similar vein, too, there was something interesting that I think it was Zuby who brought this up. He said a lot of people, I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the exact quote, but a lot of people think that once you get rich, you're untethered, you can say whatever you want. It's actually the opposite. There are people who make $60K a year who are scared to lose their jobs, so they fall in line, they refuse to speak out. These big Hollywood celebrities who make millions of dollars are even more scared to speak out because a fall from grace is much more embarrassing than just getting fired. And so the more money they make, the more likely they are to march with the machine.
Golden handcuffs.
Yeah.
Golden handcuffs are real.
That's like what Kanye West was saying at one point. The more fame he got, the more people were trying to tell him what to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the people who piss me off. It's not the people who make $60K a year. I understand. You got to pay your mortgage. You got to help your kids get through school, all those things. If you have $20 million or more, you can live the rest of your life an amazing life. The people that really piss me off are the ones who are rich and are cowards.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense too, because it's true. Like if you're working some job and there's human resources and they're going to fire you if you say men aren't women, then, that's a lot harder.
Same thing with COVID shots, right? Like I understand why people had to go.
What happened when J.K. Rowling stood up for the gender critical women and said, men aren't women, and I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm just going to say it outright. Well, the first time she said it, her publicist was like, no, she's just old. She didn't really say that. She's out of touch. She was wrong. And then, it took her, that was in June of whatever year it was. And then it took her till December when she put up the mega viral post and everyone got very mad. But you know what else happened was thousands and thousands of women and parents took the opportunity to speak their mind as well.
Yeah.
And so when you have someone who is powerful and has a lot of money and has a big platform and stands up and says, like you do this, Tim, and then people have courage to say what they believe too. All it really takes is one person.
And J.K. Rowling's a good example because she did then follow up with she followed up financially. She invested in that women's clinic for women who are victims of rape and assault to go specifically to only be with female staff members. And then she doubled down and said, no, you can't allow trans identifying people. They have the National Health Service. There are other research, and this is specifically for women.
No fellas.
I mean,
the rape crisis.
It was almost as if speaking out. I know it's a crazy concept, but it's almost as if speaking out really changed the way she was spending, because she was, donated all kinds of super woke causes before. But I think some of this is similar to why people like Donald Trump, right? Like he has the money to which he could say, I'm going to live my life however I want to, and he chooses to do something that's pro-America. With Kamala Harris, I mean, she is, fundamentally wealthier than most Americans, and she is still looking to everyone around her to say, what can I do for validation and to gain power? There is weakness in that position.
I would also point out J.K. Rowling's really good at what she does, and that talent ultimately allows you the freedom to do a lot. They're making new Harry Potter shows all of a sudden at Warner Brothers. They're expanding the theme park there because she's a kick-ass talent.
And I got to address this meme that's been going around forever. And it's this meme that claims, it says that in the Harry Potter universe, there's a spell that it's silent, it's secret, you can just kill anybody, and people aren't just killing each other all the time. And for those that aren't familiar with Harry Potter, there is the killing curse, which is a component of the story where you can point your wand, say words, and the person dies.
Avada Kedavra.
Avada Kedavra. And people...
That is a super nerd. I knew it too. I'm glad that you...
But here's the interesting thing. J.K. Rowling actually did a really great job in writing this. The one thing I think is interesting is that she's basically written books about children who have the equivalent of guns or worse, and they're running around schools. But anyway, I digress. I'm seeing all these people attack J.K. Rowling now because of the trans issue, acting like all of a sudden everything she did was wrong. And in this meme, they're saying, the reason this makes no sense is because she's a terrible writer. She's never been good. Nobody likes her. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. People have guns all over the place. People in West Virginia are armed to the teeth. Nobody's just walking around shooting each other. Whether you can point a wand or a gun at somebody, people don't just kill each other. But I believe the criticism in the memes largely come out of she has turned on the woke left, and they have turned on her, and now Harry Potter must be bad.
Meanwhile, you also have like trans advocates who say things like, J.K. Rowling gave us a place to feel like being freaky was normal and we could just be ourselves. And now we hate her so much, so we're going to divorce J.K. Rowling from the work she created. And they've been trying to, trying to put out versions of her books that don't have her in it, trying to keep her out of properties in that franchise, even though it's 100% hers.
Didn't they keep her out of the reunion? There's like a big thing.
There was an HBO reunion, and they referenced old interviews with her, but she was not in that.
But I would say
that made me not watch it. Like, I don't give a rat's whatever. I don't know.
Booty.
I can't not curse properly. But I don't care what Daniel Radcliffe has to say, or what's her name, Hermione Granger,
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson, who turned out to be such a little brat. Like, she's terrible.
I think that ultimately what's happening though is her talent is so substantial that Warner Brothers has now come back, paid her hundreds of millions of dollars more, and they're saying, please give us more of your content.
Talent is rare.
Yeah.
Talent is rare.
And I give her credit
creation.
And so is bravery,
she does
sadly.
Unbelievable world creation.
Yes.
Like, that was the one thing when I started reading those books with my kid and I started reading it, I was like, the most brilliant thing in those books is the world.
You read the books before your kids read them, or no?
Oh yeah, well he was little, and we saw them at a book sale for $1 each at the book sale at the library near my grandma's house, and so we bought them all, and I started reading them with him when he was like 5 or something, and then I just stayed up all night reading.
I read them all when I was in law school.
Yeah,
because
really
I
good.
wanted something.
I was in grade school.
I wanted something that just took me away from the serious things in my life, and so
Well,
I would read them all.
Creation is unbelievable.
It's phenomenal. I love her.
I read it after grad school.
I read the books as they came out.
That's very cool.
I remember being a teenager, and I think the 7th book came out when I turned 21, or like shortly after I was 21. And I had friends who were like, wow, when the final book is written, we're going to be 20. And I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15 or something.
It seemed like
We
a
were
long
like, wow.
way away.
I didn't
Those
have
books
kids
were
yet.
amazing.
I remember going to get the books when they came out, feeling a little weird.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.